You rubbing your head? What? Oh, it's on. Hey, welcome back to the Disney News Podcast. We are officially at episode 52. Man, time is flying. We are doing it. And Taylor, we got a special guest with us. Who is here, my man?
We have Kevin.
Dads love Disney.
Hi guys. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It is going. I am this is like you get back from like a whirlwind trip to Disney World where you're going all day, in some cases all night, and then you get back and your body it's not adjusted. And so that was my day yesterday where I was overstimulated, I didn't sleep well, and I was exhausted physically, mentally, but I got up and I had to kind of go through the day, things with my kid and my daughter, and then last night I got a great night of sleep, and so today I feel like a normal human being. I'm this is my post-adjustment day, Disney trip day, which has felt amazing. So, but thanks for having me. Glad to join you. I've been listening to your podcast for a while, so it's kind of surreal to be here with you guys, and it's crazy to think it's been 52 episodes. I mean, I want to say I maybe jumped in on somewhere in the teens, and so it's kind of wild to me that you all are already on 52. So congrats.
I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for listening and tolerating. It's not Taylor. Taylor, it's me.
You're one of maybe 5.
No, the numbers.
Right.
Okay. I get numbers. I sent you a message earlier through complex schematics and algorithms in words like random access memory. I'm sure you don't know what that means, but I have data. Okay, but I'll get back to you on that data because it's such a big number, right?
You don't understand it, and you got to ask me. I understand. That's fine. It's okay.
I don't understand it. Seriously, help.
I heard some kind of metric that 95% of podcasts never make it past episode 7. And so I think you all have to be in the 99th percentile. So congrats. And no matter what the data says, I think that is a fact.
But I'll tell you this much, and I know that Taylor will piggyback on this because I'm going to force him to. Because, like I said, he gets shy from time to time. He's young, a little shy, bashful. Like his sweatshirt. Who's on your
talk?
Because you have.
Because I'm with Dopey.
I love that.
With Dopey. He's down with Dopey. So for us, we Taylor and I, we've been buddies for a while. We've been buddies for the past 6-7 years, give or take. Maybe
8 years.
8 years. Well, see, you actually keep schematics and numbers and complex calculations. I'm Dopey. Thanks for wearing my shirt tonight.
Yeah.
But no, for us, both of our wives went to did residency together. Okay, I'm located in upstate South Carolina, and Taylor's back home in Virginia.
I'm from Virginia. Yep.
So we're Southern fellas that we're close enough to Florida, but way too far away. Every single day of the week, and we're always counting down the next trip. But we really never knew that he and I both had that love for Disney. Because like you said, you're a 10-year-old trapped in a 40-year-old's body in your bio.
That's exactly right.
and I cannot piggyback. That's apparently my new catchphrase. Let's take a piggyback ride.
Yeah.
I can't piggyback on that phrase anymore. Every sense of the word, whatever phrase. But we always wanted to team up and do stuff, and we talked about opening up a bottle shop.
Yeah, we've
maybe just the big. But Taylor is. I am not this person. Taylor is he's an absolute entrepreneur. Ideas that come out the wazoo. I mean, he goes through ideas like he changes pants, like he changes underwear. I hope you do change your. Okay, we're gonna move on. Sorry, man. It gets weird from time to time. You take a left turn, you gotta rein it back in. That's me. But we always wanted to kind of team up and do something. But ironically, we became better friends after the fact. After they moved away, went back home to Virginia, where he and his wife are both from. My wife, Emily, and I both from South Carolina, and I'm currently residing in Spartanburg. We never kind of left where my wife did residency, and his wife, Caitlin, did residency as well. But regardless of that, we just kind of went, let's do a bourbon podcast. We could do it because we know nothing about it. I was like, but we'll have nothing to talk about, and we'll just get drunk off our asses and then forget everything we even talked about. I wouldn't even save the episode. And so we kind of just talk, and he said, well, I'm an annual pass holder. And I said, well, we just went to Disney back in 2021 with the family. Like, the whole 16 like uncles, cousins,
Oh,
like the
wow.
neighbor's dog, like everybody.
The Uber trip. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that kind of started, I had no idea how to set up a YouTube channel or even, any kind of social media, whatever. But it's just kind of naturally kind of clicked with us. We just have fun with it, even if we're talking into an empty void, which is happening now. But it's the community. It's the relationships that we have established with the camaraderie, the Disney community. We go to Disney World now, and we have plans with people that we've met through Instagram, through the podcast. So we've had guests, that reached out to us, said, hey, because you reached out to us and said, hey, you said, hey, are y'all doing the race? Because you did was it the marathon? You did the marathon.
No,
right?
it was the wine and dine.
Wine and dine. That's
the 10K. Right. We did the 10K.
That's right. Because we were coming down. We got back right when y'all were finishing up. Is when we got down there. And then Taylor's trip ended when mine ended, and we overlapped for Jollywood Nights, the first night of Jollywood Nights, which is a whole other topic. No. Hot takes, hot take, hot mess.
Yeah.
No, but regardless, it's like I said, the relationships we've established and getting to know you. You're officially a Disney Dudes podcast Hall of Famer. And that's you've been on for like 10 seconds. Congratulations.
Can go nowhere but down from here.
Listen, your Wi-Fi makes you Hall of Famer number one.
Is it coming through okay, or is it like lagging?
No, it is. The reason I'm saying that is because Abbott got Nathan Fire Sheets. You know who that?
You know we're talking about. He did he made national news. Did 12 Disney parks, all the rides
in 12 days straight.
Yes, if they were operational.
Yep. Yes.
If they were, I did see that.
Yeah. When we did the podcast, I kid you not, he's a very nice guy. I hope we can have him on the podcast again.
He'll never return.
But it was like he was on the Titanic at the bottom of the ocean.
Was he in the U.S. or was he somewhere abroad?
No. He was at a convention. He was in Orlando. He He lives in Georgia. He lives outside of Atlanta, so he's pretty local.
Yeah.
And he's a Magic Key holder, annual pass holder, Universal, Hollywood, whatever. Hits all over the world. Mr. Worldwide, Bulldog himself, whatever his name is. But Pitbull, Bulldog. I'm 40, almost 43, so there's that. Anyway, with this, he came in, and I was literally just the Disney geek in me. I was salivating literally on the edge of my seat, just like I want to hear everything about Disney Sea, because that's the bucket list park for me. The one park, sure, took you to Disneyland, but Disney Sea is everything. The videos that I see, and he was telling us about that, but of course his Wi-Fi went and to have to keep it together. And to not start.
I had COVID that episode too.
You did have COVID, and you tapped out. You tapped out.
I tapped out like 10 minutes in because I'm like, first of all, nothing against Nathan, but this Wi-Fi is killing me, and then COVID's slowly making me. I'm tested.
You were dying a slow death. He literally, that. But
you're
like I said,
your first.
Congratulations.
Glad I'm coming through.
And the fact that, like, if I knock my table, my camera shakes. So therefore, you actually have somewhat of a legitimate setup. You got like some memorabilia behind you. You've got neatly posted things on the wall. Behind me is just like a couple of French doors, my wife's Bravo portrait, and then like headshots of my kids here, like that, whatever. Yeah. But regardless, so I'm in my dining room in my house.
It looks like, and honestly, on the podcast right now, it looks like I have a gun pointed to your head.
It looks like you. Oh, it looks like I have a gun pointed to my head.
No. It looks like that I have a gun pointed at Abbott's head.
Yeah,
that would.
You see it, Abbott?
Can I? You know what? I feel like you want me to. You're trying to get something out of my ear. Give me a wet willy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you're trying to do the Dave Coulier cut it out. That's what I'm going to go with. So you're welcome for that. I just saved the podcast. But no, But no, Kevin, getting back into it. I mean, you've got incredible content. You've got lots of great things going on. I know you're an annual pass holder. I know you go to the parks way more often than you should, which is it's ridiculous. It's not fair. I wanted to confront you now. Now is my chance. Jerk. No,
bring me all the smoke. Yeah.
It's time to gaslight you. No. Where did your love from Disney begin? Where did it click? Where did it begin?
Yeah. So I'm a late comer to like loving Disney. Now I will say, you know, I grew up with the, you know, I'm also in my early 40s, so I grew up with the VHS tapes, the big, you know, honking VHS cassette tapes with the cover, and you know, there's a certain amount of nostalgia around like the movies, and then I remember like Saturday, or was it Saturday or Sunday night? Sunday night, you know, Saturday night, Wide World of Disney would have a movie on, and that was like a huge deal, like in our house, right? So Saturday night, you get to stay up late, watch a movie. My first trip to Disney World didn't happen until I was like 15. Like we took the Uber trip with cousins, my aunt and uncle, and I'm very close with some first cousins I have. And you know, my dad, we got tickets. We didn't stay on property. We stayed off property in like a sort of timeshare type of place. And my dad like cashed in all of his travel points to get us airline tickets. And he wanted us to get our money's worth out of Disney World. So in the middle of June, he marched us around Disney World like all day long. And when I tell you I was miserable and I couldn't wait to come home, and I said coming home, I'm never going to come back here ever again. That was awful. It was the worst vacation I've ever had. And so pause there. However, growing up, massive comic book fan, massive Star Wars fan. Like the first memory of a movie I have is watching Return of the Jedi on like a free movie weekend for on HBO or something. And so, so fast forward, and you know, I start to like come around on like, and also, and I'm rambling now, but I married into a Disney family. My wife's family or they're one of those families that would go every year or every other year and drive down from we live outside Philadelphia. So they would drive down to Florida. And they would do it and they loved it. Right. And so they would say like, hey, we're going to go on a Disney trip. And they, my mother-in-law in particular, basically just didn't force me, bought a cabin on a Disney cruise for us. At that point we were dating. We weren't engaged or married yet. And so I go on the Disney cruise, and I like reluctantly, and I had the greatest time of my life on the Disney cruise. And it was, you know, around that time, it was Disney was in acquisition mode of Pixar, Star Wars, Marvel. So all of my fandoms were sort of being like condensed into this one company who was making experiences around all the things I loved. And so I liked the Disney cruise. Then we went on another one, and then my mom's wife said, and we got married, and my mother-in-law said, and we had our daughter. She said, "Let's go to Disney World. I want to go to Disney World." And we went to Disney World, and like my daughter was very young, like in that age where people would make fun and say, like, "Why would you ever bring an 18-year-old to Disney?"
Exactly.
But like. Because like who cares? It's not, you know, it's not for them, it's for me.
Exactly. I'm trying to prove myself to everyone. Got you.
And so I you know, and again, I loved it. And so from that moment I thought, okay, this is something I maybe want to do in like every year, every other year. And so I started to like fall into this social media wormhole of Disney content, Disney creators, people that like where I could learn a lot in a small amount of time. And I just got immersed in this world, in that community. And so fast forward, we took another couple trips. We went on another Disney cruise. And I think when the trip we took with my daughter was like 4 or 5, I mean, talk about core memories. Like her understanding that we were going to eat breakfast in Cinderella's castle. And she didn't like get it. And then we strolled up with the stroller to the castle. She didn't want to wear a princess dress. she immediately started to take her clothes off to put her princess dress on because she felt like she was underdressed to be at the castle.
Yeah.
And like you could see the embarrassment. And so she was
Yep.
like into it. It was amazing. And that from that moment on, I just felt just totally in love with the parks and the experiences. And then like a year later, Galaxy's Edge gets really, they open up Galaxy's Edge in California, and I got to, on a business trip, I sort of went out there and spent a day in Galaxy's Edge, and just they didn't even open up Rise of the Resistance yet.
Yeah.
It was just Millennium Falcon, Smuggler's Run, and like all the other things around and I just sat in Galaxy's Edge on a random Tuesday in September for like 6 hours.
Oh, wow.
And just like looked around. I went on Smuggler's Run like I think 8 or 9 times. Like I just kept getting in the standby line and going around and around and around. Like I was in disbelief that I was in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon. And it was like this. And so and then I was like, okay, so that was 2019. Pandemic, 2020, everything shuts down. All the and so everyone's having that visceral like pandemic moment where you're like, am I in the right job that I want coming out of what we went through? Am I living my life the way I want to? Everything is temporary. What can I do to like experience joy more? It's been a really hard year, 2 years, whatever, however long you consider that. And I started to make some changes, and I started to follow and communicate with some of the other Disney content creators online. And I was expecting like people to just be like, oh, like we don't need another one of you. And instead what I found was people like, yeah, you should do that. Like, what I wanted to sort of do was like bring a perspective of a dad who loves Disney, who's like all about the things, like the opposite of the dad who's pushing the stroller with the you've seen the shirt like most expensive day ever, like the opposite of that. What does that guy look like? What is he thinking and feeling? What would he love to see? Because I don't know if you all find this, but like and almost all of the content creators that I love happen to be female and happen to like have not mostly female audiences, but I thought like there's a niche here and it's small and it's okay. I'd love to just like be part of that niche, but like open to everybody. And so I've always gone in with like, I think there's an opportunity here to tell people about the other side of dads and Disney, which is like, they feel like it's a great investment in their joy and the joy of their families and whoever else. And then there's a little bit of, by the way, because I believe like, there is this inner child in us that needs to be nurtured and soothed, and like I get to do that with Disney, but there is also a part of us, I believe, at least for me, that you kind of turn into your dad a little bit. And as I was interacting with my family in the parks, I found myself, especially with some of the changes the parks have made with Genie Plus and reservations, I found myself marching and overbooking, and so I was like, oh my god, I'm turning into my dad. Because my wife's family, they take it very easy. They do one big ride in the park, maybe 3-4 hours in the park, and then back to the resort, and then maybe they go back, maybe they just hang at the pool. It's very easy because they know they're coming back. And so I've just like leaned into that, and then I really, I have to keep that like part of me that is turning into my father in check all the time. In fact, my family calls it a fanny pack level. Like when my fanny pack is like down below my waist, I'm like easy breezy, and then as the tension rises, the fanny pack goes up until it's like choking me around my neck. And so where is my fanny pack level? It's like, is it chest high? Is it like upper abdomen? So wherever it is. So that's so that's the origin story. And then like, I really like struggled at first. I started it kind of on a whim on May the 4th. Like, you know what? I'm just going to jump in, and I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to try and figure it out. I work in marketing. That's like my real life job. And so I know a bit about, branding and voice and content creation and strategy and that kind of thing, and promotion and advertising. But it's been a minute since I was like hands on keyboard building something from nothing. Right. And so I was like, what better way to learn about something that, I am tangentially involved in, but I want to know more about it. So I kind of jumped in with both feet, and it took me a while to kind of figure out like what voice did I want to have, what space did I want to occupy in terms of like the content I was putting out, and then like how much I would need to put out, how I would pivot and react, what people were engaging with. And then as I got into it, what I found is as I did more of it, this community is, I don't know, maybe just Instagram does a fantastic job of weeding out the negativity.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah.
To me, it feels like a positive corner in the internet that does not exist anywhere else. Maybe it does, and I just haven't been exposed to it. But
I agree with you there.
We mainly we have threads, of course. That's kind of a natural thing. Why wouldn't you do threads if you already have, somewhat of an establishment, or at least 1,000 whatever on Instagram? But I'm a little late to the Twitter X game, right? I'm a little late to that one. We're on that as well, and I'll just post when we kind of put like a new podcast up or anything like that. But Twitter is the absolute most toxic, most over the top. I mean, I could go on with however many adverse adjectives you want to shoehorn into that.
You could even add
too bad.
into that.
Say it again, Taylor.
I'm glad we don't have a Facebook page or anything like that.
And Facebook is kind of my mainstay for my personal, for my family. When I post, if I do post pictures of my kids, and I have a personal Instagram account that has like 25 followers or whatever. And it's not, obviously that's not the end game here, right? We don't get paid to do this. We do this because we enjoy like I said, the sense of community, expressing ourselves, and yet again, our mutual, now tri-mutual. I don't know what I'm trying to say there, but point being is that Instagram we just kind of just did it. It was just kind of natural. I just kind of fell into it, and Taylor set up the account, kind of went from there, and it all snowballed, right? At least our version of what we call social media success, so to speak, if you want to call it that. Yeah. But to go back, go ahead.
I was going to say, so I and what I found was that like there were it was positive, and like not only that, like people were encouraging me to do more, and to like when they liked something, and I was like, this is crazy. Okay, great. And so, and what I realized is that there's a lot of people doing like news. And so I really am not going to be the first one getting scoops, right? Like I didn't want to put that kind of much time into it because, as you said, like I have a day job, I have some other things, responsibilities as a father and that kind of thing. And what I thought was like, well, I like making people laugh. I like a little bit of news. And so that sort of became like my tagline is like, you can follow me for Disney news and nonsense, but like it's mostly going to be nonsense. And that's kind of where, the most nonsense stuff is. Like in my reels, I love to do like, humorous collaborations and things and things I find funny. And in my stories, I'll pepper in some news and some just entertainment and interaction and stuff. But like, so, and usually it's only things that I find super interesting, right? I leave it to the pros, like, Brooke McDonald's and the Serena, from Living by Disney and the Disney Food Blog and others. Like I leave it to the pros to do that. They are like, big J journalists in most cases, or media. And it's like, so I'll promote their stuff if I find news, but
absolutely.
That's kind of it. And since I've done that, it's felt like way more authentic to myself. And I think that's probably why I resonate with you all is like, you're being yourselves for 52 episodes, you're being yourselves, and you might evolve over time, but like, it's an authentic voice. And I think that kind of resonates with people. And when they get sick of it, or they're like, my interests have changed, then they unfollow and then, but the next person is always kind of there. That's like, send me a message like with the the joy emoji or something, or like the LOL, and that's just even just getting one of those a day, like makes my day. So it kind of keeps me going. It's been cool. It's been very fun.
Wow. I feel like I've been on a journey. That was an immersive experience.
From 15 to 42.
That's it. But no, Taylor has more core memories of. I'm going to speak for Taylor from now on. He's not allowed to talk.
Go ahead.
Take a back seat. Thank you. But no, I grew up going to Disney. I went a couple of times, went with like a school trip, and it was a lot of fun, but it never truly clicked, right? I had fun, but I was never like, as a child, I can't wait to get back. I want to go to Magic Kingdom. Epcot was everything. Figment blew my... No. I had a great time, had good memories, but I was trying to chase girls and do this. And, obviously you're a child. Right? You're a child. You don't have the rational perspective, that kind of immersive experience. But Taylor, not equating you to a child or anything like that, but you definitely have a very vivid experience growing up with Disney. You went all the time, right?
We went all the time. I'm an only child. My mom's an only child, so pretty much I'll go ahead. I was spoiled with Disney. We would go to the first time I went to Disney, like you, Kevin. We stayed off grounds in a timeshare that our neighbor gave to us, and from that moment on, it just clicked. We would go for spring break. Mm-hmm. We'd go sometimes. My birthday's the day after Christmas, so we'd leave our family Christmas party at like 12 o'clock noon. My mom would drive all night to get us there on the 26th on my birthday. She did that probably 3 or 4 times.
Wow.
But everything you said on your journey, it resonated with me because, I mean, I have 2 little girls right now. One just turned 3, and the other she'll be 11 months when we get down there this next trip. The 3-year-old, I have seen her. She now understands what Disney is, and she is so excited. That's all she's talking about. And she wants to show her sister everything about Disney. She wants to show her the shows, the rides, everything. But the fanny pack analogy, I mean,
I've never heard that. That's perfect.
That's 100%.
That's it.
The first time we went down, my wife wasn't a big Disney person, but now she's ramping up enough to follow the podcast.
Yep. Will she be on it? Will she actually do?
Yeah, probably will be. But
will you get like a finger, like pointing towards your ear like a gun?
I think you might actually
imitate you in the.
You might get like a Bigfoot sighting.
That would be. It'll be a grainy video, kind of shaky.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's
just a real dark video. Yeah.
Good idea.
But she wasn't a big Disney person. Now she'll send me an Instagram message with something about Disney all the time. And so I have to check myself about itineraries and pushing everybody a little bit too hard. And I told everybody this trip, we're going down, we're going to have fun. We're going to go to the pool a lot. We're going to go just hang out at the resort some more. We're not going to push it.
Well, you didn't know what a resort day was.
Exactly.
Now, Kevin, we were now. Taylor grew up with, went to high school with a girl, Simply Magical Molly. Okay, and she's Disney planner. She does a lot of good content. But she's been on our podcast a couple times, and she is.
I know of her. I follow her. I think
I thought I knew what Disney was until. You mean you can do what with Genie Plus? And I was doing it. I was holding my phone. Basically, I felt like I was holding my phone upside down the wrong way, or I didn't know what I was living under a rock compared to her knowledge. But that being the case, that type of knowledge just absolutely blows the mind right there. My wife grew up going to Disney quite a bit. Okay, she went a little more than I did, but always had a love for that, but a love for theme parks coming into it. But we never knew we had that true mutual connection. We just kind of grew as, I've been married. It'll be 17 years this year, and I've got 3 kids of my own.
Congrats.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. I've got a soon-to-be. We're pretty much in the birthday crush right now, right? This is the perfect time to plan a Disney trip and have kids' birthdays literally back to back with your wife's birthday, kind of shoehorned right in between the middle of them. But no, my kids they go boy, girl, boy. Mine are soon to be 15, 10, and 8.
Wow.
And for me, the way that it kind of clicked for me was, I went to Disney once when I graduated from high school. I was 18. It was the first time I really had some true independence to walk around the parks, and I had a good time, but I was just like, kid stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
But it clicked with me when I was 18, summer of, summer of 99. You said you're 42. I'm 42. I'm right there. Taylor, get in the back of the bus there. Back it up, son. let the old men with their janky hips that attempt to run Disney races, right? Act like they're athletes and then off camera, this sucks. This is killing me. I'm dying a slow death. Quick, let's get out of here. Here, get an Uber. Let's go to the finish line. but it was the first time that I rode Escape from Extinction or Dinosaur. I got to ride that in the fall when it was that themed ride, because it opened in summer of '98 or spring of '98. I know it was '98, but regardless, it was early on, and it was just Discovery Island, and they only had, I think they had Africa. It was limited back then, but it really clicked with me then, that immersive experience. But I didn't go back to the parks until I was in my mid 30s. Right, already had 3 kids, didn't go back, and my wife Emily had a medical conference at the Swan and Dolphin. Right, and we really Swan and Dolphin. We had a great experience. Really didn't know what it was all about, but we took the kids, had an immersive experience. But for me, I don't mind telling you, my oldest son is on the autism spectrum. He's high functioning autism. You can have a conversation with him. It's limited. He's not as socially, he won't naturally engage with you socially. I mean, he'll make eye contact. You can have somewhat of a conversation with him. He's very independent, self-sufficient, but at the same time, he has a lot of auditory sensory sensitivity. He's got to cover his ears and can get agitated, in that sense. And I was a little nervous going into Disney. We had done that because our backyard, at least our local theme park, is Carowinds, right, in Charlotte, North Carolina. And so we did that, and kind of as a baseline to see how he would do. And he seemed to be okay, but just didn't want to ride any rides. He said, "No, I'm good in his own way." We go to Disney, and I think for the first time, he went when he was like Wells. He's your daughter's age, and when you were talking about your daughter, like 2, 3, and he basically slept the entire time. He was 2. He got in for free, right? 18 months, whatever. He may have been over 2 years of age, but they didn't check. Or I didn't say anything. So, but him going back in 2018, right, when he was 9, going on 10, and to watch him, he literally became a different person. It's almost like he saw color for the first time. The sky was bluer. The smells were actually sweet. He's taking me, and he always, like I said, he's a sweet boy, and he's very smart, very intelligent. And you wouldn't know that he was on the autism spectrum unless you spend about 5-10 minutes with him. You're like, oh yeah, I can see, whatever, no big deal. But regardless of that invisible disability, he just had the absolute time of his life. We don't have a reason to get the disability pass. We could easily get that, go to the front of the line, do all that type of stuff. Our own version of the autism VIP tour. We could call it that. I mean, you could. I mean, it's his world. We're just living in it, right? It literally is. But point being, and I can ramble, as you can see, circle the wagons before you get to the point, at least 7 or 8 times. But for him, that was my true Disney dad connection. My daughter, of course, immersed. We did the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. She loved it. And of course, you can't get a reservation for that now since it opened up. But regardless of all that, my youngest son, he takes to it naturally. He loves it. Can't wait to go back.
That's great.
But the connection for me was watching my son literally just light up. It's just kind of like his brain went, it's time to have some fun. Dad, let me show you what Disney World is all about. And from then on out, I'm a person, I'm kind of high strung. I don't handle stress well. I don't anticipate change very well. And so he definitely comes by his version of autism quite naturally, in a way, I would say, or honestly. But at the same time, it's the only place on earth where I can just throw caution to the wind. Yes, you got to go. And yes, it's expensive. But like you were saying, that Disney cruise, the experience. And to watch as a dad, the experience through his eyes, in his limited way of communicating with me, it was everything. I'll give you both kidneys. I want to have that fleeting moment of time with my son, with my kids, but especially him in that situation. It was incredible.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. That's amazing. Yeah, it really is like, it feels like they have thought of everything, and there's something for everyone. And let's say like you like your motion sickness, or you have, like you have like auditory sensory issues. There are all these spots and things that you can do that are insane. And they're like, it's so amazing. And so that's, part of like, when I go to the parks and I'm not with my family, right. Which this year I've done more of that than not.
Okay.
It like I see families interacting or having like that core memory made. And I will literally stop walking. I'm a fast walker. I'm a little tall. I've got like a long gait. I'll stop walking or slow down and just sort of like listen or watch and just like appreciate that moment. And it sometimes it's the silliest thing. Like oh God, I think it was in May. It's this little girl spilled her popcorn.
Yeah.
She just got like a popcorn bucket and it spilled. And Stitch saw it and ran over. There were all these crowds of kids around him. He ran over to this girl. She was crying. She was hysterically crying. He picked up the popcorn. She looked at him, stopped crying out of like confusion, grabbed her hand, walked over to the counter in front of everybody, and like mimed to the worker, the cast member behind the counter, like pointed at the popcorn button, pointed at the popcorn, pointed at her, pointed it back. And then the cast member that is like Stitch's friend that like walks around with the character came over and sort of like translated for the cast member, and they're like, oh yeah, of course. And then so Stitch hands her like a brand new popcorn and gave her a Mickey bar and was like, it's okay. And then gave her like a little kiss. And I was like,
awesome. Yep.
Unbelievable. What, where else would you find that? And so for all the things that people say about Disney and theme parks, and look, it's a business, has to make money, it gets expensive. It's wild, economically we're in wild times. But every time I think of someone saying that, I think about that moment and I'm like, that moment is priceless. That moment, no one's doing the ROI calculation on like, well, what about the four kids that he just left? He went over and made that little girl and that family's day. And that's a memory they'll take home with them forever. And I love that kind of stuff. There's something for everybody and in every situation. And so like what I've, as my fanny pack gets up around my neck, right? I'm just like, I slow down and think like, you just look around and you're like, nothing today went to plan, but it was the greatest day ever because we were just bopping around a park. We went on, maybe we went on like some ride, like maybe we went on the People Mover and it was just fantastic. And maybe that's all we did. It was amazing. So but so thanks for sharing your story. It made me think of like,
easy. Yeah.
Something for everyone.
If you tell me you're like, shush, Taylor, back of the bus, Abbott, shush, shut your mouth. I'm talking. No,
I'm just going to tell you, when we go down there, I'm just going to, we'll get your phone number. I'm going to call you up so you can give me that pep talk.
Yeah,
because I'm ready to go. Just
run through a brick wall
around the park and not ride any rides. I just want to experience it again.
Mosey, I'm telling you, mosey around the parks.
It's hard to do. It's hard.
It's very hard to do. Yeah,
I told Taylor it was the first time in a while. We've gone to the parks obviously a whole lot more than we did in years past, and we're doing the adult. My wife Emily and I, we do the adult Disney thing. We do the Run Disney thing. I hit somewhere in my Disney print. Marathon from 2022 or 2023 do math, but don't want to admit that too late. But no, for me, I had a situation where, right when you left and we got down there back in November, that was our family trip. We went with my parents, my in-laws, and the kids. Only just the 9 of us, and lots, and it was much more manageable this time around because everyone goes to, not me, the Disney dude who has a podcast, that cute little side project that you have, Abbott, that's going nowhere. And it's just a bottomless pit of nothingness. Boy, you're sad. My mother-in-law would never say to my face, but I know she's thinking it, like, that cute little, you're a child. You're just a child. That's fun. But no, it was the last day. We always started Magic Kingdom and ended Magic Kingdom, right? Quintessential, of course. That's what you do. And it was when they were filming, and I didn't realize, but Taylor told me ahead of time, they were filming the Disney Christmas special or parade. And they were actually filming some of the special. And so I saw a little bit of Smashing Pumpkins, like Billy Corgan doing the mic check from a distance. It was amazing. But that day, we were coming off being at Hollywood Studios that Friday, the day before. And I'll tell you something. Now, I'm not going to get into the layout of parks. This is not the commiseration Disney, pile it on Disney hour. But it was the first time in a while where I didn't mosey. And I felt guilty for doing that because I don't show that type of emotion in front of my kids, especially when we're in Disney. I don't want them to see me getting frustrated. But it was one of the rare times where too many people, way too hot. Genie Plus was an absolute, crapshoot. wasn't working, right? And I sat there, and it was just I actually kind of hit that proverbial wall. I hit that Disney wall. I said, Emmy, I don't know if I can do this. I'm done, and I made it about myself. I was being selfish. I was kicking rocks, right? And I said, this is too much. This is overwhelming. Even to me, I'm not a big believer in, fate, signs, superstitions. I mean, I'm born and raised South Carolina. I'm like the most superstitious person you'll ever meet. Don't walk under that ladder or open the umbrella inside. Like, I'll knock on wood and take salt and like throw it over my shoulder 4 times just to kind of save my butt. But I said to him, I just don't know if I can do this. I went up to a cast member after we got our, LaFou's brew, and we're walking over by Storybrooke Circus, and we got our, had our breakfast on, and we tried to rope drop, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, which is hilarious. But we're walking over there. We're going to try and ride Space Mountain, right? And I went up to a cast member, and for some reason, I'm not the brightest bulb in the box. I get that because I ramble, but I went to a cast member, like one of the PhotoPass cast members, and I said, "Hey, real quick, I know it's early, and it doesn't seem like the park is too crowded. Is the park open a little bit later tonight, or are they having like an extended hour type thing, or is there some kind of special?" And she looked at me, and I was not rude. I was not trying to inconvenience anyone. She was not taking pictures with anyone. She had no line. She was just looking on her phone, right? And she looked at me, and you would have thought that I had completely went out of my way to tie her shoes together, to pour ice cold water down the back of her pants, whatever, like trying to like just ruin her day. She looked at me and she cut eyes and she goes something to the effect of, "I don't know. No, I don't know. I guess I don't what." And she looked at me like, why are you talking to me? And I went, and it didn't bother me. I mean, I'm sure you can commiserate in a way or piggyback in a way on this one. At our age, and I'm just going to go out on a limb and say this, I really don't give a crap. Things don't bother me. I'm pretty comfortable in my own skin, but I just kind of went, what is happening? I've never had a negative experience with a cast member, and I know we're all human, but that day it was probably the roughest. I still had a great day, still had a good time. I still got to ride my favorite ride, the Haunted Mansion, so that's fine. And I wore my Wall Creeps Roosevelt, which is still sold out, and I'm happy about that. I'm not selling it. Don't ask me for a price.
I'm jealous. Yeah. I missed that.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite one. But point being here, it was that day. I just kind of went, this is the most un-Disney day that I've ever experienced.
Yeah, geez,
still had a good time, but have you had that kind of experience where it was unexpected? It's not that it's gonna, I mean, you're still going to go to the park. It's not going to leave a bad taste in your mouth, but any kind of similar experience to that. Because Taylor, give him.
Give me the mic now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Well, I don't think so. I mean, I've definitely had like less than warm interactions with cast members.
Yeah.
Who I sort of like I chalk it up to like, I wonder, because I look around the parks and I see some of the craziness that's going on.
Oh.
And I think about being a cast member and even having to deal with like a tenth of that, like for an 8-hour shift or however long they work. And I just think to myself, like, this person's being short with me. Their energy meter is probably on E. I'll get what information I can, and then I'm just kind of like, thank you so much, and then moving on to either make the next right decision or talk to somebody else. But in terms of like nothing going right, I don't think so. And I think that's because it's a whole nother origin story, but like,
you're good.
History, my family history and that kind of thing, lots and lots of change all the time. And so I kind of thrive in change. And so, for instance, I'll give you an example. Like the trip we took last June with my daughter and my wife.
Mm-hmm.
We stayed at the Grand Floridian. We were going to be there for a week. It was when, I don't know if you remember, like in fall of 22, they were running ridiculous discounts for pass holders in Disney Plus. It was like 35 to 40% off.
Yeah.
And we stayed at Grand Floridian, which we had never done before, for like a week with like this insane price. And I was like, this is going to be amazing. And so our last day we saved Hollywood Studios, and I wanted to do, Woody's, the Roundup Rodeo Barbecue.
Yeah.
And so we had a reservation, and for like around lunchtime, and everything was going to work out. And I was going to get an individual lightning lane for Slinky Dog, or no, it was a Genie Plus for Slinky Dog.
Yeah.
And something happened with the app that morning. And by the time I got it, it wasn't until 5 o'clock. And so now my agenda in my head is all messed up.
Yep.
And, I'm having a panic attack. And my wife and daughter are sleeping, right? But I'm having a panic attack, but I can't say anything because it's like, we're in a hotel room. And I had to basically, like, in my head and then in practice, like rearrange the whole day. And for like an hour and a half, because the app was slow, so everybody's day was all over the place. And it was raining that morning.
Oh my.
So I had about a 30-minute period where like I'm trying to figure out how to salvage the day. And I was able to do it within the span of like 2 hours, but it was raining for the whole morning. And what I realized was that like we actually lucked out, because I was going to basically drag my family out in the rain.
Yep.
And have like a Disney morning and then go to lunch and do all these things. And instead we missed the rain. We got to the park. We did a couple of rides we didn't even think we would do, because we had pushed our lunch and then became dinner, and then Slinky Dog sort of fit right in there. And I was able to stack some more lightning lanes. And my daughter usually doesn't last in the parks beyond like a 4-hour stint, right? So usually 4 hours turns to a pumpkin. We head back to the resort. It's either at night or in the morning or whatever. And she went from like 11 a.m. until 6 p.m. straight through.
Oh, wow.
And we had an amazing day, and we traumatized her a little bit. We took her on the Tower of Terror. And so we both were traumatized, but like, it was like, it was an amazing day. And so that was the closest it's ever come. But usually, again, because we go a family trip usually every year, but then I go quite a bit.
Yeah,
I can kind of let it go, because I know I'll be back. And if I don't get to it this time, we'll do it next time. But I will say, for people like my dad that took us when we were young, if this is like your one and only trip, and things don't go according to plan, or like you miss something major, or it rains the whole week.
Yep.
I can't help but empathize with where you're at and sympathize, because this is like your one shot. And so I completely understand where people come from in that perspective. And I feel super grateful that like I'm able to do a bunch of this stuff and get down there when I can and that kind of thing. But it's, so I haven't had like a, ooh, I'm ready to check out. Now I've gotten like exhausted at the end of a week where I'm like, okay, time to go. But yeah, that's about it.
It was kind of that was not, I would say that's the catalyst. And I sound like this absolute tool of a man going like, well, I guess I'll go ride Tron after my negative cast member experience, whatever. I mean, come on. I mean, shut up. That's what I'd be saying if I were you. Come on, man, get over yourself. I'm looking in a mirror. Sorry, people. No, to go back, no one's had it. I'll be honest with you. No one's had it worse than yours truly, Taylor. Because I made a joke. It was our first summer.
Tell us about it. Tell me about it. Yeah.
Well, I made a joke when I said Taylor, because I hadn't. It was in 2020. This was fall of 22, right? September 22. So fall of 21. We took the family trip with like the Uber trip. Everybody and their neighbor's dog and the chicken down the road came on. Let's go, come on. And the last day we were there, of course, we ended at Magic Kingdom. It rained the entire day, but luckily in Florida it was warm. It was at least 70 degrees, and we still talk about having to sit through just to get out of the rain, and have some kind of restitution. We watched the Hall of Presidents 4 times in a row.
Yeah.
And then we already had reservations. It just worked out perfectly because we had reservations at Liberty Tree Inn right there, or tap.
Oh, that's amazing.
But what I was going to say was that, but the first summer we did the podcast, I joked around with Taylor. I was like, I was a little jealous. Like, he's there, I'm not there, because that's not fair. We're a team, and teams work together, not against each other. Like a house divided, whatever. I said, I curse your trip, and you're going to have a hurricane. Just joking.
Oh no.
Hurricane Ian.
Oh no. Oh no.
I was kidding, and I felt
And
so bad.
So that
Taylor,
was
I can't believe you still talk to this guy. That's wild.
Yeah. So, that's not even half of it. But yeah, Hurricane Ian, the last 4 days of the trip.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was watching. I'm like, oh, it's gonna skirt the west coast of Florida. It'll be fine. It's gonna go up Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
No, that sucker hit the Gulf and just came straight back in. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So all my family was like, listen, my wife and mother-in-law, and at this time we had Wellesley. She was getting ready to turn 2.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's like, we should probably go on back. And I'm like, listen, we've spent a lot of money on this thing.
Yeah.
I understand y'all want to go back, but let me just go ask somebody who is a native Floridian what we need to do. So I went down and talked to this really, really nice man, older gentleman, and he said, you get on 95 to go up north, back to Virginia or anywhere up north, you're going to get stuck and it's not going to be pretty. Like, there we go. And he said, they build these buildings to withstand hurricanes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. So I go back up, relay the information. They're like, okay, we'll shelter in place. We'll figure out what's going on. The worst experience of my life was riding out the hurricane down there. It was, I've never been to jail or prison, but I can imagine that's probably what
it was. For him, we talked, and he and I he would give me a play-by-play, and it was the perfect content. Go ahead.
You weren't allowed to leave your room, right? Was that the deal?
We weren't allowed to. So we weren't allowed to leave they suggested we didn't leave our room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They suggest that we did not go outside. And then when the hurricane came through, it was about a 8 to 12-hour window where they said, you're not going outside. We don't care what you have to do. You're done.
Yeah, right.
And so, we would go outside and venture outside and walk around. But when the hurricane, when it came through, I'm like, this isn't too terribly bad.
Mm-hmm.
But then as the day went on, I was looking on Twitter, I was looking on Instagram, and everybody's showing like the flooding of the cast members' cars and houses. And I'm like, holy crap. So we got lucky. And I started walking around Caribbean Beach Resort because we stayed at the Riviera, and I walked across to see if we could get some food because the same food at the Riviera is, yeah. So we went to Caribbean Beach, and they were having a freaking party. They were having a party, but the damage that they had undertaken, holy smokes! That was pretty severe.
Yeah.
I was thinking to myself, walking around the little lake, like, yep, probably gonna see alligators, snakes right here, and nope, nothing. But that was Abbott cursed me on that one. And
the guilt, Kevin, guilt. I felt because as soon as he told me, I saw the weather forecast. I'm like,
you laughed.
I was choking on something. My son did something hilarious. He's like a natural born comedian. He tells you every time we talk. Like if I have Mr. Taylor, I've got a joke for you, and it really hits hard.
It's fantastic.
He kills. But no, I felt true remorse.
Yeah,
true.
I bet. Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
This last trip, Abbott had sunny weather the entire time.
It's beautiful.
We get down there, and I would say 5 out of the 7 days, it is pouring. And when I say pouring, it's not Florida rain. It is straight up monsoon.
Yeah.
You have to buy 3 ponchos to cover the stroller. You have to buy stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what we went. I went down middle of December to go to Jollywood Nights. It was the only reason I was going.
Yeah.
And I land, and it was that day. It was like monsooning, and it was canceled. They canceled it, which they never do. Like, because that's a lot of money, right? That they just inherit. So they cancel it, refund your money. And so by the time I landed, I got the notification. So I'm already in Orlando. I was only going for that day, that night, leaving the next morning.
Wow.
And so it was like, but I'm so glad they did. I mean, I had never seen rain like that. It was all day, gusting winds, driving rain, unsafe. And like there were people in the parks, and I'm like, why? But I guess if that's your day, that's your day. Yeah, right. So I had friends that were in the parks, and I was like, oh my God. So we pulled an audible, and we had our own Jollywood Nights where we drank around the resorts and the monorail and did some things. And we still got dressed up for dinner, and then booked a reservation for like a fancier dinner, and then made the best of it. But it was like I'm used to like Florida. You go, it rains in the afternoon, it's hard for like 45 minutes, and then it's over. This was not that.
Yep. Yeah. So for you, I know that you're obviously an annual pass holder at Disney. Yeah. Do you slum it at Universal? Do you ever deviate to Universal?
Yeah, once in a great while. Now I haven't been in a while. Twice, right around the time my wife and I got married.
Yep.
We went on a Disney cruise with my in-laws, but we went down early and did a day Universal, just her and I.
Yep. Yeah.
It was amazing, right? Loved it. And then was lucky enough to go for work for a conference that was at the Swan and Dolphin. And this company that put on the conference rented out an after hours thing at Universal, which basically they shut down City Walk. You just eat and drink all you want at City Walk, and then you can go into the parks.
Oh my gosh.
Until like 1 a.m. And I was like,
wow.
This is amazing. So and the park was empty, and then they had food and booze stations like every 100 feet or something.
How about that? That's incredible.
You go on a ride, you come out, you grab a little hors d'oeuvre, you grab a little cocktail, you walk to the next ride, you go on a ride, you come out. It was amazing. So that was the last time that I did Universal. Okay. And so I haven't been in a while. I am circling a trip for like April 1st ish time frame.
Okay.
Because that's one of my goals this year is to kind of expand to Universal.
Yeah.
Disney will always have my heart and like be at my core, but Universal has made some incredible rides, and they seem to really have invested in the experiences, and so I just I want to check it out, and since I'm down there so much anyways, might as well. So so I'm not opposed to it.
There you go.
I do feel like I'm cheating a little bit, but it's it won't change like my brand or who I am. Like I'll always. Disney has my core, right? It's like the core Disney brand, and then Star Wars and Marvel. Like, that's it.
Exactly. Yeah, the Universal. It's interesting you say that. I made it a point not to watch the trailer for Epic Universe until we recorded. We recorded this past Thursday.
Yep.
And our latest episode is dropping tomorrow, and I'll put in the RSS feed for all the 2 people to hear. And South Carolina, my mom and dad. Thanks, mom and dad. Thanks for listening and pretending to love it. Thumbs up emoji.
Yeah.
Actually, the thumbs down came through for the first time. But no, that trailer, it's the first time in a while because something new, something shiny, sure, but it looks. I'm not gonna say epic. It looks incredible. It looks absolutely like what they're doing is mind blowing.
It's miles above what
it's just, and yet again
for Disney.
And Taylor and I did a WTF episode, like talking about we got into the politics, we got into why is it so expensive? We lamented, we commiserated.
We were the two Muppets in the balcony.
Yeah.
Waldorf and
exactly. That's right. You're right. That's a better way to put it. You're right. It's a very good way to put it. But but it looks absolutely incredible. It looks amazing. Everything about it, the originality, everything that goes into it.
Yeah.
And this is, you could definitely segue into, what are your thoughts? But I do want to I don't want to get controversial. I don't want to stir the pot. I don't want to conjure up any emotion. But at the same time, your thoughts on what Disney is doing with, not because everything is canceled. Everything is this. Right-leaning media, left-leaning media, whatever. Taylor and I are right down the middle, and we're impartial. We just the heart of Disney, the mission of Walt Disney himself, to imagine, to create, to love, experience, obviously. But what are your thoughts on what Universal's doing, of course, but at the same time, you get different updates with different things happening around the parks, and the latest thing construction-wise, obviously, Tiana's Bayou Adventure is happening, and that'll be awesome, but they're only renovating bathrooms at this point. I think they just renovated the bathroom at the Pinocchio Village House right there beside Small World Fantasyland. What are your thoughts on that? Like, is Disney, are they innovating enough? Like, what do you know something we don't? What's your opinion on that? For the future.
There's probably nothing. I know that you don't. We probably are all reading for the same sources. I love the investment Universal's making.
Yeah.
Right. Because I think at some point, I don't know for sure, but like the Islands of Adventure, all of the Marvel things there, I'm guessing that license or whatever, that usage is going to run out at some point. And so they need to invest to figure out what to do, period. And I also think like they've seen a lot of success and traction with Super Mario World out in LA and in Tokyo, and being a Nintendo and specifically a Super Mario fan, like, that's the draw for me, right? The Harry Potter stuff I'm not as into, although my daughter's starting to get into it. But like, so but in terms of investment and renovations, with Disney, there's a couple of things there. It's pretty complicated, at least the way I see it, because I follow a lot of like I invest in Disney, right? Like, I'm a shareholder. I have stock, and I've always invested in Disney and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I listen to the earnings calls, not as a fan, but also as a shareholder. And I think about what they're doing. And when I hear them say that they're going to invest, what was it like? Was it 6 billion or, however many, 60 million or 600 million or whatever, they want to invest 60 million into the Florida parks over the next 10 years. It has to be more than 60 million. It's up there, but whatever that investment amount is, it was a sizable amount. I think they move slowly, but with intent. And I also think that they, they have a great track record of basically good experiences. And like maybe excellent experiences and really good ROI on those investments over the last, like, I would say 10 to 15 years, right?
True.
I think some of that hit the skids, honestly, when they had a leadership change where those investments got either held up or whatever happened. And look, and the pandemic probably slowed everything down. And so they're probably just getting their footing again. And my thought is that, and this is the ramblings of just some guy who reads like the same headlines everyone else does, is that I think they will see what Universal Epic Universe is and does, but I have a feeling they've got a lot of plans up their sleeves, and I have a feeling they're going to be expanding, adding to the parks, and not just the blue sky stuff we saw at D23 last year, but like in real meaningful ways with technological advances that we have not seen before. I do believe that, because I don't think you can spend that kind of money just opening up, a Marvel Avengers campus, which maybe we'll get in Orlando, maybe not, or like, some of the other things. So I do think that, that they will follow suit, but they're the leader in this space. They'll do it on their own time, and they'll do it when they feel like the quality is good enough. One of my big concerns about the leadership at the top of Disney is post, what is the succession plan for Bob Iger?
Yeah, true.
because I'm a big fan of Bob Iger, right? Like I
Yeah.
read his book twice. And
Yeah.
whatever your sort of opinions are,
Yeah.
I happen to believe he's a great steward of that brand and that business and the original intent of Walt Disney. And so I wonder about that continuing beyond his tenure. That's what has to be built. More importantly than like, when are we getting the new attraction in the parks, right? Like, well, if you think about the last like 5 years, we've got Guardians, Remy, Prawn. We're getting Tiana's Bayou Adventure. We're getting what else do we? We got a bunch of stuff. Galaxy's Edge, Rise of the Resistance. Like, there's a lot that's happened, and I think they ran out of steam a little bit there with the leadership change and with the pandemic, and I think we'll see a bit of I don't want to say a renaissance because that's already been used in terms of like a Disney era, but some sort of awakening of like the next stage of like what a theme park guest experience can be. Yeah, sorry, that was a ramble, but that's
no, that's not a ramble.
I have a lot of confidence, I guess, and I'm willing to be patient.
Who would you like to see succeed Bob Iger?
I have no idea. I really don't. For the longest time, because of the focus on Disney Plus, I thought it was going to be one of the I forget his name. One of the two guys that left right after the succession plan was announced, that started and launched Disney Plus and then moved on, and now they're back sort of in the fold as senior advisors. I forget their names. I could Google it real quick, but for the longest time, I think it's Kevin Miller. I think the guy's name was Kevin Miller. I thought it was going to end up being Kevin Miller because of the focus on streaming services and how that content needs to feed the rest of Disney's engine, right? And theme parks and merchandise and all the other things. I wonder if it's going to be someone like that. I wonder if it's going to be Josh D'Amaro, right? Head of Parks and Experiences. I'm not sure that you could have a Josh D'Amaro and run a successful studio, which is really important and needs to be figured out, right? Like it's very critical time. So I tend to think that it'll lean more on like the branding storytelling side, and the studio side versus someone in Parks and Experiences. But by the way, I think Josh D'Amaro is like the perfect guy to run Parks and Experiences. I think that guy like does a lot of really good stuff, and he seems to I don't know, there's a genuineness there and an authentic nature. Like it feels like he's in the exact right spot for who he is and what he does, and he seems to be about the details, which I think is the difference there. So I don't know, and maybe they bring in a studio head from outside. I'm not sure, but I think that like Bob Iger's thesis when he took over Disney from Eisner was, as goes the storytelling of this company, so goes the rest of the company. I wholeheartedly believe that's true. Keep the thing, and the thing is, you tell amazing stories in all kinds of different ways. Keep that the thing. Keep doing that. Keep it at the core of the business. They need somebody that can do that, and I don't know who else that could be.
That's a good answer. That's a real good answer.
I thought about it a little bit, but at the end of the day, I have no idea.
The cue cards I was holding up for you, they came in handy. So you're welcome for that. No,
thank you. No, thanks for that.
But Kevin, I know that you're a busy man. You said you got some good sleep. I wish I could say the same as me, because I get to jump right back into the fold tomorrow in the Matrix and do all the fun stuff and get back to work. But I wanted to tell you first and foremost, well, at the end, because we're starting to kind of get to that point, thank you so much for your insight. You have been. Did I mention before that you're officially
Hall
of Fame podcast Hall of Famer, All-Star?
Yeah,
I mean,
love
it's incredible. There's nothing that goes along with it. Maybe I'll mail you like a Post-it note with like a thumbs up or something. But that's awesome, man. No, we really, 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 really appreciate your time.
Yes.
You definitely opened up my eyes and gave me a new perspective. I do fall in line. I share your sentiment in regards to the heart of the parks, the storytelling, the core values, or just perspective that you have on the Disney parks, the Disney experience. I'm right there with you. The only thing that I dislike about this episode is that I don't go as often as you, and I'm attempting to change that. I'm changing that, and I keep saying that. And I'm doing nothing about it. Ugh, but I will say
you got to make it work. Well, we got to get down there together. That's the most important thing, right?
Exactly.
So we got to overlap at some point. Say hey and go on a ride together and grab a beer. Yeah.
Exactly. The monorail bar crawl is one of the greatest experiences. Yeah, Magic Kingdom fun. Epcot, hooray. The monorail bar crawl, but I digress. Taylor, you got anything else, man? Any updates? Any news our way?
No, just 68 days for us.
72 for us. 72. And
cool.
You're looking at, I think Taylor's looking at setting up a VIP tour, right? You're doing the VIP tour.
Ooh, let me know how that is. I'm super interested. I've not been on one.
He's done it a couple times already, right?
You've done it a couple times? Yeah. Boy, what a good talk about good investments. I think that is a great investment.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, definitely. It's we're trying to get Abbott and Emily to join us.
Well, if said person who now, Kevin, if you can tell Taylor if said person would actually give me the information for said tour, but
we're trying to set it up this week.
If you forget, I understand. If this is our breakup now, like our pre-breakup, it's fine. You can tell me.
No,
I don't mind.
I've already told Molly's going to set it up for us because she can get a nice commission.
Ooh. Okay. Hey,
can I write my name in as an alternate? Like basically, if like you have 3 people get sick or they can't come, I'll just show up.
The thing is, I think we have one extra space, maybe.
Okay.
So I'll keep you posted on that. But
keep me posted. I'm available. Drop them a hat. I'll just be like, oh, what? Bat phone rings. I'm on a plane.
Hey.
Don't hold your breath. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. Just kidding.
Yeah. So
because if you go, you'll get a hurricane.
Am I going to split up the Disney Dudes podcast if I get to go on the VIP tour and Abbott doesn't? Like,
hey, the only reason Abbott will not get to go on the VIP tour is because it's his own choice.
All right.
Oh.
You heard it here.
Shots fired, people. Shots fired. But anyway.
Thank you, guys. Seriously, thank you. It's been fun hanging out. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it. And all the kind words right back at you. I mean, love the content. Keep doing what you're doing. Love the podcast. Anytime I can come back, I'd love to hang out some more. It'd be great.
Awesome.
All right. We can't wait to waste more of your time in the near future. Absolutely. We'll have you on again. And
no better way.
No better way. But hey, we appreciate your time. Have a good one. And y'all have a good one. Later.
All right. Take care. See you guys.
Yeah.
Bye.